as a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins and he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
World champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building.
Joe Rand just exposed Jake Paul, the guy who started with cringy pranks and somehow ended up in boxing. From the start, Jake has been desperate for attention, calling out big names like Conor McGregor and Sean Strickland, but when those didn't work out, he started cherry-picking his fights. Now, Jake is facing new complaints because it's easier to whine than take on real challenges. This time, it's about his fight with Mike, which didn't go as smoothly as he thought. And let's not forget his over-the-top reaction to Andrew Tate's fight offer, which he handled like a spoiled kid being told to clean his room.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer.
Joe Rogan got everyone wondering if Jake Paul cares more about boxing or avoiding real competition. This time, the drama is about Jake refusing to fight Andrew Tate, even after Tate publicly challenged him and put a $3 million bet on the line. The move shocked people and set social media buzzing.
You fight.
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future.
Jake Paul, known for his big personality and non-stop self-promotion, has made a career out of picking easy opponents. From retired MMA fighters with no boxing skills to celebrities who don't belong in the ring. His fights always seem designed to ensure two things: big pay-per-view sales and a high chance of winning. So when Andrew Tate, a former kickboxing champion and a controversial internet figure, challenged him, Jake's silence said a lot.
If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you.
Andrew Tate didn't hold back with his challenge to Jake Paul. He called him out, added a big money bet, and offered to fight anytime, anywhere. The bold move matched Tate's loud and confident style, but instead of stepping up, Jake avoided the fight completely. Joe Rogan, never afraid to speak his mind, pointed out the obvious. Jake only takes fights where he can control the outcome, and a match with Tate wouldn't follow his usual script.
So, work. Come on, people like
Come on, fight. Listen.
Jake Paul shifted his focus from Andrew Tate to proposing a fight with Mike Tyson. At first, it might seem like a dream matchup, but it's clearly a calculated move to reduce risk. Tyson, though a boxing legend, is 57 years old and far past his prime. While Tyson's name guarantees ticket sales, the fight lacks the unpredictability and real challenge that a match with Andrew Tate would bring. Joe Rogan didn't hesitate to call this out, saying Jake's career is all about avoiding serious threats.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And two,
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might.
And it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul and will never box him.
What makes this worse is how Jake Paul has handled the criticism, by staying silent instead of facing it. Joe Rogan, however, didn't hold back, pointing out how Jake keeps avoiding young, competitive fighters and chooses safer, more marketable opponents instead. His decision to fight Mike Tyson, a retired heavyweight, instead of Andrew Tate, who is still in top shape, perfectly sums up Jake's approach to his so-called boxing career.
Actually, somebody like me, he'd mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my fight.
Andrew Tate didn't stay quiet after Jake Paul turned him down. He called out Jake's fear, exposing cracks in his tough guy image. For someone who acts confident and dominant, Jake's hesitation to fight Tate shows a weakness that even his biggest fans can't ignore. Social media was quick to react, with fans and critics calling Jake a coward for avoiding what could have been a career-defining fight. Joe Rogan didn't just criticize Jake's avoidance of Tate, but also pointed out a pattern in his career, facing mismatched opponents to boost his record instead of testing his skills. From retired athletes to inexperienced fighters, Jake's opponents all had one thing in common: they weren't real threats. Rogan's sharp commentary exposed Jake's strategy as a way to stay marketable without risking his reputation.
And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins and he makes money. So he's doing his thing.
The biggest issue here is Jake Paul's refusal to face fighters who could truly challenge him. Fighting Andrew Tate could have been his chance to silence critics and show he's more than just a YouTuber pretending to be a boxer. Instead, his decision to avoid Tate has only made things worse, proving to many that he cares more about showmanship than real competition. Joe Rogan didn't hold back, saying Jake's choice wasn't about courage, but control. Even Jake's fans are starting to question his motives. While a fight with Mike Tyson might grab headlines, it does little to build Jake's credibility as a serious fighter. For someone claiming to revolutionize boxing, his actions show he's more focused on protecting his image than earning respect. Rogan's critique struck a chord with fans who are tired of the hype and want to see real competition. Andrew Tate has become the wild card in this story, keeping the spotlight on his challenge to Jake Paul and showing the clear differences between them. While Jake relies on controlled fights and calculated risks, Tate thrives on unpredictability and raw aggression. This contrast highlights why Jake is so hesitant. Fighting Tate wouldn't just be risky, it would threaten the image Jake has carefully built. Joe Rogan didn't just call out Jake's strategy, he also questioned the state of boxing, where hype often outweighs substance. Jake has become the symbol of style over substance, and Rogan's words remind us that real fighters don't avoid challenges, they face them head on. Jake's refusal to fight Tate says more than any press release or social media post ever could.
That's delusion. That's delusion. I'm sorry.
Beef.
Look, Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. I'm sorry, Tristan Tate is a weak link.
I say let's run
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight. You might have a fight on your hands.
The fallout from this situation has seriously damaged Jake Paul's reputation. His refusal to fight Andrew Tate, along with choosing to face a retired Mike Tyson, has made it clear that he's more interested in playing the role of a fighter than actually being one. Joe Rogan's comments have only made this more obvious, leaving fans and critics questioning if Jake will ever take on a real challenge. Right now, it seems like Jake is only fighting to maintain the image of being a legitimate contender. His decision to avoid Tate didn't just hurt his reputation, it destroyed it. For years, Jake marketed himself as a fearless fighter. But this situation revealed that he's more of a businessman focused on paychecks than proving himself. Fans are no longer buying the image of Jake as a daring competitor. They now see him as someone who picks fights based on what's safest and most marketable.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now.
Jake Paul clearly has the skills to fight, but the problem is he won't face anyone who could really challenge him. Andrew Tate made a bold challenge with a $3 million bet and a call to fight, but instead of accepting, Jake backed off, leaving people questioning if his boxing career is more about PR than actual competition. Joe Rogan didn't hold back, saying Jake doesn't want a real challenge, he wants a sure thing. Then Jake teased a fight with 57-year-old Mike Tyson. While Tyson is a legend, he's past his prime, and Jake knows that. Tyson's name brings headlines, but the fight itself is low risk and high reward for Jake, adding to his highlight reel without showing his weaknesses. Rogan called Jake out for avoiding tough opponents like Andrew Tate, while sticking to safer, easier fights.
Nobody is sitting down. Good reason. We have not only world champions.
Meanwhile, Andrew Tate has been relentless, constantly calling Jake Paul a coward and mocking his refusal to fight. And honestly, Tate has a point. For someone who thrives on controversy and confidence, Jake's silence says a lot. Instead of addressing Tate's challenge, Jake is acting like it doesn't exist. Social media is not letting him off the hook, with fans accusing him of hiding behind his brand and avoiding any fight that could hurt his perfect record. The real question now is where Jake goes from here. He can't keep avoiding tough fighters like Tate without ruining his credibility. Joe Rogan made it clear, Jake's reputation is hanging by a thread. If he keeps dodging real competition and only taking easy fights, his brand will fall apart. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.